Welcome to another Don and Ron podcast. I am Beau.
I'm Don.
I almost said I am Don.
Really? Yeah.
I said Don too many times. But today we're going to talk about a game that almost literally every single person in the world likes.
Yeah.
I can't think of almost anyone that doesn't like
It's
it.
worth tearing yourselves away from KOTOR 2 for a hot minute.
For an It is, of course, we're speaking of Halo Combat Evolved.
It's not just. We were talking about this earlier. It's basically baseball.
You could talk to it about
anyone.
anyone.
You can ignore.
Right.
You have to have.
It's required for living in modern society. You have to be able to talk about Halo.
Yeah.
And
you're expected as a child to have attained some, so that when you're an old person, you have to go to the company softball. But for our generation, it's going to be the company Halo,
the LAN park.
Yeah. I distinctly remember when that first came out. I started seeing people I did not associate with gamers or nerds talking about it, playing it, wearing merchandise from it. Gamer Fuel came out.
Absolutely, the Master Chief Game Fuel.
Is this world what I thought it was? I was raised to hate and fear gamers. You know what they do. It's that Hank Hill walking in on the nerd, and he's just like Gollum. That was my idea of a gamer. Then, literally every male from my age group on up was suddenly playing video games.
It was like,
apparently they always were.
It's like in 2001, like we had Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Combat Evolved, all within like 2 months of each other. It suddenly just became cool as hell.
Everyone just came out of the closet. Male, female, and all who lieth betwixt. Like, you know what? This is we're in a very, this is 2001. We're in a very conservative and reactionary period. Maybe we should just stop hiding.
Especially in our area.
Maybe we should just stop hiding who we are and, flip the double bird and start playing video games and escaping to whatever fantasy realm will have us.
And so to get away from our reality of warfare and distrust and
religious zealotry and misguided crusades that end up doing a lot of damage to yourself.
We went to a world of religious zealotry and warfare and misguided crusades.
An idealized realm where humanity is hunted and unable to win a single goddamn military victory throughout the entire setting.
So in 2001, I think the question on everyone's lips, the biggest event that kind of rocked our consciousness in 2001 was the fall of Reach.
Yeah.
Where were you when Reach fell? Where were you when you got the news?
I was in, I was in Cody's basement, most likely. Yeah, actually, that's exactly where I was, because I saw, I was doing my own thing, then I heard something on the TV, and everyone was just glued to the TV. Right. You remember that time.
Right.
2001. Like, you overheard something on the TV, and then suddenly you realize everyone is just standing around, and it's like the Outer Limits or the Twilight Zone. Everyone's just staring and looking at something, and you just walk up to them, you stare and look, and you don't know what you're looking at right away. And then you hear crying and gunshots and explosions, and like, wow, this looks awesome.
My name is Dan Rather, and we have lost every Spartan but one.
Some cool things going on here.
So, fun story. I didn't play Halo until years later because I drove to Tell City, GameCube controller in hand, to play Melee with the boys. As always, as per tradition, I went into the basement. I've told this story 1,000 times. You were all playing Halo, and Cody, and I think even you were like, no, dude, you'd really like this game. Give it a try. And I was like, nah. I walked my ass back upstairs and drove back to Yankeetown and played Melee with my friends in town. I was so upset. I didn't give it another chance. But ironically, with the release of Ultimate, I can't stand playing Melee anymore. But with the release of Master Chief Collection, I love playing Halo Combat Evolved. I love it.
It was basically there were three big shooters that I played, like socially, and basically by that I mean three big shooters that I played, and they were basically GoldenEye, and then obvious transition to Perfect Dark, and then Halo, and it basically just kept with Halo because Call of Duty didn't come out until I was in college, and at that point I was kind of locked into the Halo.
You're kind of invested in Halo.
I had invested time and talent into making myself a passable Halo player for social reasons.
Right.
And Halo carried us through college. Like Halo 2 came out right as I was leaving for college.
Right.
And this is the big thing. Like going to college as a Midwesterner, someone like us, small town, you don't really know a whole lot of people, especially very few people from different culture shock. Backgrounds.
It's a legit culture shock.
Like not just different, like the leap from talking to someone from a different country is almost not as big as talking to someone from San Francisco or New York.
Absolutely.
For someone like us, like, you know, especially if you like listen to Fox News and you're told, you know, San Franciscans, they're gonna take away your cross.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna kick in your door and they're gonna make you worship Allah. It turns out they just want to fight you on Halo.
And is it Fox?
Like anyone else?
And is it Fox News in the heart of New York City? Isn't that where they're headquartered?
It's where all the reporters live.
So that's what's funny is like they're in the largest city in America by leaps and bounds, telling you to fear these big cities.
That was a big transformative moment for me because my first I got to college and I was on my own for the first time. I'm working and just going to like getting realizing that the world hadn't ended, that this is just nothing.
Yeah.
Like once you get in the rhythm of it, this is something you can handle, but you still have to like make new friends because all my friends went to IU.
And you went to USI.
I went to USI.
Yeah.
I was there with one other friend. Unfortunately, he was also a big Halo player.
Right.
But, he and we had different schedules. So on the nights when one of us had night classes, I didn't want to just be a shut-in. I know myself. I could have done that. I had to fight against doing it. I needed to find
I would have been fine doing that.
I need to find a healthy social activity.
Yeah.
And it turns out everyone on this planet played Halo.
Yes, it was. It's really hard to explain to the generation after us just how big. I mean, Halo was huge. The Xbox sold because of Halo, and that's not an exaggeration. It was literally killer software. It was required,
and this was a big thing for a lot of us because, Midwest, we don't really have internet. At this time. Mm-hmm. So LAN parties, just linking Xboxes was the only way to do it. But college, they did have internet, theoretically, so at different times.
And you could Halo 2 on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
You couldn't Halo Combat Evolved, but you could on Halo 2.
Yeah.
And it was the most played game on Xbox Live until Halo 3.
I distinctly remember my first week of college, I randomly came across a Saudi exchange student, another guy from, I think, upwards in central Indiana, and someone from San Francisco. And
literally San Francisco?
San Francisco. Jewish, white. He looks like Atticus Finch.
Oh, Gregory Peck.
Yeah, he's
you went to school with literal Gregory Peck. He was a very reasonable player.
Very standard liberal archetype of the 60s. He basically walks around in black and white talking about the civil rights era. But he also plays Halo because he's a goddamn human. Mm-hmm. And then there were a bunch of other people, a few girls. They all play Halo.
Yep.
Because why the hell wouldn't you?
Because they're human. Of course they play Halo.
Yeah, so we all get we all, we're done with meet and greets and orientation. We're all going to play Halo. I got a controller. I can cash in.
Right.
And that was basically our that first week. Every night after I get back from classes, I'd find one of them. We'd just link Xboxes and play up. And that really takes the piss out of college when you can just transition neatly from high school to college like that and realize that life isn't going to throw you anything you can't handle outside of the things you can't handle.
And that was an important lesson taught to you by Halo Combat Evolved.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, in Halo's story is because that was the big deal about it. It was a shooter, but there was a legit story behind this one. And I think the story is so popular because it is a literal James Cameron movie. That the plot, everything follows the same beats that James Cameron movie would. And it's just a very interesting thing. It's sort of and it's weird because the chief relationship of the story, the chief dynamic, is a almost emotionless super soldier and a inordinately expressive computer program. Yeah. And what's funny is the first game I played was Halo 3. And of course in Halo 3,
it's
a great game.
Yeah.
One of my top 3 favorite games of all time. But you have John 117 and Cortana. I mean, that is that is peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just the best of friends in the world. And in Halo 1, she was riding his ass that whole time. He couldn't do nothing right.
I'm almost curious how the scene in Halo 3 where you find her again, and there's that scene where you're both trying to put on a brave face, and you put her back in your head. Just keep your head down. There's two of us in here, remember? And she's saying it sweetly.
Right.
How did that feel when you played Halo 1 and linked those two lines?
Oh my God, yeah. It was like...
Keep your head down. There's two of us in here now, remember?
It's and then when she said it, and when she says it all like sweetly and like three, and like it's weird because like...
It's a fond memory, yeah.
It's weird because like the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana, and this is more of a Halo series thing than it is Halo 1, but their relationship, it should be weird, but it's so natural. Like, it is not like Edie and Joker. It is not a, why the fuck did you put this in this video game? This is stupid. Because Edie and Joker's, of course, was this romance, whereas with Master Chief and Cortana, it's like they're literally just...
They're both a little outside of humanity.
Right, exactly. And they're the only two like that.
There's uncanny valley going on with both of them.
Right, exactly. Because Master Chief is, of course, a foot and a half over the tallest human being possible. Mm-hmm. He can't understand other human limitations because, of course, he does not have them, and he hasn't had them since he was a child, around 6. I'm actually reading Fall of Reach right now, and it describes him as a child. And apparently, he was always interested in always winning. Mm-hmm. So that just neatly... Anyway,
we're getting the wrong species for that, really.
We're getting off of Combat Evolved here. But in Combat Evolved, it's a really standard shooter start. Yeah. Chief, get down here. We got some alien ass to whip, and it sort of almost gut punches you with the, hey, no, wait, we're going to tell you a story.
Yeah.
Like, what's your... and another thing I love is there's no markers. You have to listen to Cortana. Mm-hmm. Like when she's like, oh, that drop's too far. I don't know if we can make it, Chief. And then you go back in and you keep killing. Finally, she's like, Chief, that drop doesn't look so bad. And you're like, oh, okay. You go jump. Like and that's how the game told you to move forward. It was a natural, it sounded like something she would naturally have said to him. It wasn't Chief, about 73 meters, north, there's a... it felt like natural conversation. They did a really good job at that.
What I really liked about the setting, how it introduces you with the standard sci-fi of a ship just drifting into frame in front of some weird sci-fi stuff. Mm-hmm. But the background you're given as you go into the game, which is basically the same background you're given in an SNES era game, you kind of have to it's either in the instruction booklet, the back of the box, but it's very basic.
Right.
Humanity is... under attack by a very, very well organized, very devoted, and very multiracial coalition of religious zealots, aliens. And basically every time they find humanity, they kick its ass, and there's no real way out except for running. The
Pillar of Autumn, when we meet the Pillar of Autumn, it had that jump that it just ended was literally from Reach, wasn't it?
And it was a desperate jump.
Right.
A blind jump.
It was literally...
They could have ended up inside a star.
In fact, the legendary ending of Reach, if you do the legendary ending, your Easter egg, it isn't anything funny. It's literally Chief running on... You kind of see him off in the distance running onto the Pillar of Autumn. Mm. So that's a cool little comeback. But yeah, so we meet the Pillar of Autumn and it's running from the pinnacle moment in human history. Mm-hmm. Because Reach was the New York City.
It was
the Galactic Expanse.
If you're thinking about the best real allegory would be World War II Japan, late in the war, island hopping campaign. Every time, at that point in the war, the Japanese were incapable of holding territory that the Allies want.
Right.
Because the Allies can, if the Allies want something, they're not going to be deterred by whatever resistance you throw, no matter how heroic. Iwo Jima, I don't care how well defended, how fanatical your defense is, it's going to fall.
Right.
And once they get in range of Earth, it's going to fall. Which is why the only thing humanity really has going for it is that the Covenant don't know where the human homeworld is. They do know where Earth is, apparently, but they don't think it's humanity's homeworld.
That's right. That was kind of a neat thing. It's like when the spy was being tortured, he was like, "Oh, that's the coordinates of Earth. Where's Earth? Oh, it's nothing really. My mom lives there.
That's an early Halo 2 twist, but yeah,
right.
But that's why the Pillar of Autumn doesn't retreat to Earth, because that would lead them to Earth,
to the homeworld.
So That's why
it picks a random spot in space, isn't it?
And you just happen to wind up
the sacred ring at
Halo. A thing you don't know what it is, but the aliens are crawling all over themselves to get it because
and they're freaking out about
it. The helpful '80s sergeant. I don't care if this thing is God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or just a giant hula hoop. We're not going to let them have it.
Interesting fact, I actually looked it up. I did some study on it because Avery Johnson, it was too ridiculous for me. Like watching him, he literally is modeled on Apone from Aliens. I didn't know because people were like, I don't think it's like he's the same goddamn character.
Another goddamn beautiful day in the Corps.
Every day in the Corps is like a day on the farm.
Every meal a banquet. But yeah.
But yeah,
you wake up from cryo sleep. You don't have a gun, but the captain wants to see you, so you have to walk through a battle.
No, you have to recalibrate first.
Oh, that's right.
You have to recalibrate to your armor.
Really, I don't remember that.
Maybe that's just anniversary.
I think that's Halo 2.
No,
Halo 2 is definitely you have to recalibrate.
I just played Combat Evolved. He had to. He stepped on a circle, and you had to.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
They do it in Halo 3 as well, but it's literally just a mirror.
That might be
you're good,
because it's been forever since I played Halo 1 for the first time. So.
But, so you're a man capable of tearing apart an alien with his bare hands, but you still don't help anyone on your way to find a gun. You just
there's no close combat, and there's all helpful barricades and barriers, and blast doors are closing, and there's that one guy, wait for me,
right.
And he dies. And then you make your way to the captain, and you're like, hey, so you probably pieced this together by the fact that their ship is exploding, but we're not winning.
Right.
Yeah, what else is new? Humanity has encountered aliens and is getting its ass handed to it. I love the subtext that humanity can put together a good fight, a good Iwo Jima, but they're all Alamos. They're all Iwo Jimas.
Right.
There's no victory in humanity's logbook so far.
So,
and then, of course, Cortana shows up on the pedestal and gets defensive. Look, I did the best I could.
The snarkiest AI ever made by humanity.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against one single Halcyon-class freighter. I'm not saying I'm content with 3, make that 4 kills.
Yeah, that was the first thing. Is she's almost defending her
it's good
performance
exposition
while everyone's dying, and it really introduces you to Cortana's character because in Combat Evolved, she's very haughty, very sure of herself, and she teams up with the last Spartan. Mm-hmm. We learned very early on that John 117, the Master Chief, is the last.
Yep.
Which that's another misnomer. The Master Chief is his rank. His name is 117.
Yeah.
And his actual birth name was John.
Yeah.
But he is the Master Chief. And at that point, you get some guns, and Key sends you out to do some killing.
Basically, you need to get Cortana as far the fuck away from the Covenant as possible.
Because Cortana's too important.
If they find her, they find Earth.
They find out
even
everything.
If they didn't find Earth, they'd find out literally everything humanity has.
Right.
Which is Earth.
Right.
At this point. Reach is dead.
Right. Reach is gone.
Reach was the biggest hub of military power, and it had the best defense network. All the Spartans were there. It didn't help.
Right.
It fell.
Right.
It fell valiantly, but it fell.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that the chips are down. The best you can hope for is to lure the Covenant somewhere else, like those goddamn birds that will always try to run away from the nest to try to lure you away. And you manage to fight your way through the ship as it's exploding. You see all those posters with propaganda like "Fight for Earth" or "Lost Cat, Return to Steve." The cat is never seen again.
You'll never see that cat, yeah.
But you make it to the escape pod, and you can see out the window the Covenant are destroying the escape pods to keep you from landing on the ring, for reasons that will become apparent later. And you make it out, and you're the only one who doesn't buckle up. But that turns out, seatbelts are deadly. Seatbelts are deadly. That's not true. Whenever an old person says, I heard about a guy who would have survived if he hadn't been wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, that's a very boomer thing.
That's not I don't like. Look, Spartan 117 is not a normal human.
Right.
He might be able to handle getting thrown through a plate glass window and scraping the concrete for a while.
Right.
But most people
will die.
Yeah.
So
in fact, most humans do.
So the official September statement from Don
wear
your seatbelts.
You are not Rambo.
Your boomer dad.
You are not 117.
Yeah, your boomer dad who said he heard about a guy that would have lived if he hadn't been wearing a seatbelt. Your boomer dad's full of shit.
Yeah, well, you wake up at the side of the crash on the ring. It's actually a really nice place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
If you play the anniversary edition, it's gorgeous.
It's one of those like eye-popping moments like, okay, this is no longer Perfect Dark. We're in a new era here.
I wonder if they almost did that on purpose. Like had the generalized, industrialized first-person shooter setting with all the gray and all that, and then presented you with this lush environment.
That's a good point.
I wonder if that was, because this game changed gaming. Mm-hmm. Period. More than Quake, more than Doom, I would say.
Like it's definitely tonal whiplash.
It is an iconic. It is
because you've gone from watching a bunch of people die to figuring. Then you wake up among a bunch of other dead people, and now the Covenant are hunting for you, and Cortana is saying, "There's somebody coming. We can hide in those hills, and you can just stand there. You got a gun. You got grenades. No, I'm good." Okay, any old time. And then like the Covenant pop out, and you just take and you can take them out if you want, and you can get all their weapons. And their weapons are actually really good.
What's your favorite weapon in the game?
The handgun, obviously.
The handgun is how a man kills his enemies. Absolutely.
Oh my god! I have literally dropped a rocket launcher to find a handgun. Like, dude, I've got to fight my way to the end of the last mission. I need my handgun, so I'm like picking up rocket launchers out of a pile, throwing them away, scraping for a handgun. It's got 12 rounds. I'm good. And to make that point even more clear, after the dropship. Fighters show up, fighter bombers, the Banshees, and that you get to fly later. But, you pull out your little handgun, your anti-aircraft handgun, and it shoots them down faster than anything else in the game, except for a rocket launcher.
You are the Master Chief. It makes sense that you could use a handgun to take out an aircraft.
But then you fight your way to, you get yourself a Jeep. Then you go corral all the survivors. You show up. You're the cavalry showing up on 3 different hills.
The first time you play through that, I was so mad because I kept taking the gunner position, and no one will drive. You have to be the driver.
Yeah.
There's no option.
Unless you have a friend playing with you.
Right, if you're doing co-op, someone could drive. And in Halo 2, there's a mission where the guy asks you to get on the gun.
Yeah.
But... yeah.
There's just something universal about mudding around in a big Jeep and just crashing it all the time.
In the Warthog, both axles turn.
Yeah.
So you could really whip some mean donuts in that bitch.
like you talk about all those kids on the coast who don't know the true love of mud, and they hate us for loving it. Play Halo with these people.
Right.
They don't hate it. They just don't have much opportunity to do it.
Right. The beach is a bad place for mudding.
Yeah.
You'll drift into the ocean.
Yeah, it's also it does make for some good multiplayer maps.
Oh, yes, it does.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Especially in Halo 2.
Blood Gulch is technically on the coast. Yeah.
But then you find all your guys, you get them together, and then you go to rescue Captain Keyes to get a good resistance going, and that's a big. Then you get to see the interior of a Covenant ship. You fight your way into their loading dock.
And it's a very interesting thing because, like, before Halo Combat Evolved, we didn't know who the Covenant were, but by the time you get in the ship, it already seems like a big deal.
Yeah,
that you're seeing the inside of a Covenant ship.
That's this is something not a whole lot of people have done on their own of their own volition, really.
Right, and it's just sort of neat that the game establishes the universe so well in the first few missions that already seems like a big deal.
Yeah, you're a Japanese kamikaze pilot who somehow survived,
right.
And you're just like on the Enterprise with a handgun and a grenade. Like, what? Like, have you ever seen that picture of a kamikaze attack on the side of a ship, a battleship, but it hit the armor plating, so it didn't do anything? You just see the silhouette of a plane in black. Imagine that guy just surviving and being on board, like. Yeah, it's basically that.
Right.
It's not really a hopeful situation, but this is the Master Chief we're talking about.
Exactly. So he's got a little He's got a little bit of an edge, and he has the universe's smartest AI.
Yeah.
Right.
But
shotgun.
when you do first board the alien ship, it's not a cakewalk. You have a bunch of people with you by design. They give you a bunch of reinforcements right as you secure the loading bay, so you're guaranteed to have people with you. But then you show up, the loading bay is empty. Then the doors start opening, but there's no one coming out. Then you see blue swords just floating, and your men start screaming and dying.
Right. Oh God, such a good scene. I love the energy swords.
Yeah,
it's my favorite weapon in the game. Could you wield one in Combat Evolved?
Not in the first one.
Yeah, it was in Halo 2.
After the elites die.
Yeah, it's in Halo 2 that you can actually pick one up. Yeah.
But then you finally find Captain Keyes, and of course Master Chief is a man of few words, so he just says, Captain Key.
And Keyes, another thing that I like is Keyes, abandon this ship, 117, that's an order. And of course, Master Chief doesn't follow that order.
Yeah. Coming after me was stupid. Thanks. Of course, you have to escort him out. But the captain does step up, and he figures out how to drive one of the Covenant dropships.
Right.
And he rams some hunters on the way out.
Oh, yeah. Hunters are a pain in the ass.
I love their backstory. I love the Covenant backstory as you find out all the little castes that they have. Mm-hmm. They're very distinct species, different planets, different. And like you find out the hunters are just these symbiotic worm colonies that mate for life. So they always appear in pairs. Mm-hmm. And if you kill one, the other one just goes batshit.
Oh yeah,
and that's good storytelling.
It is good, and it also explains a game mechanic in a very cool way. Yeah. That's another thing about Halo is the game mechanics are all explained by story. Mm-hmm. The armor. Every game has, every shooter has where your health bar gets low, then it goes back up just because you waited. They explain that. It's the Master Chief shields. Yeah. The reason why you're a human being that's able to jump over a goddamn trailer is because that's how much more powerful a Spartan is. The fact that he's able to use any weapon he finds is because he was given special training to do that. Mm-hmm. All these things are explained, whereas in every other shooter video game, that's just what you're doing.
And if you think the shields are fantastical, we did literally just encounter aliens with them. It makes sense that we'd at least get one corpse.
Exactly. They do explain that it is Covenant technology that powers the shields. I think that's cool about Halo is that everything's explained.
And the elites are very, very easily recognizable. They've got that they have personality. They don't speak all that much in the first one,
right?
But they do go.
The grunts. Oh, and the fact that you can understand all the aliens.
The grunts do speak human English.
The explanation is because the Chief's got the translator.
Oh, that's right.
That's why he can understand the grunts, and when the few times. Because when they're going, burp, 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 that's the elites grunting. They're not trying to chit chat with 117. They're trying to kill him.
It is well hidden.
But the grunts, it's him, it's the Spartan. Or in the second one, the demon.
I do love that progression where you become a figure in their religion.
Oh yeah,
because of
Halo 1 what happened on Halo 1. Yeah.
And then, you do a bunch of other missions. You have that awesome beach invasion moment.
Oh,
with the thrumming drums.
Yeah. That's another thing that's just so James Cameron about it is the music. But yeah, that is such an iconic video game track. It really is. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it just pumps you up. And
then you hit the beaches, and it feels like you're really getting some payback because these aliens are really invested in finding the control room of this ring, which you think is a weapon.
It's fine. I'll get it later.
Yeah.
And another thing is Cortana's mentioned several times that she doesn't know why they're so panicked.
Yeah.
But they're freaking the hell out. This point in the game.
Yeah. This is very important to them.
Yeah. There's something going on that they're worried about.
Your operating assumption is that this is some kind of weapon, which the Covenant do think is the case, but it's more than that. But it's also a weapon. It's the holy hand grenade.
Pretty well.
Yeah. So you're basically trying to race to the control room to get control of it before they do, and that's pretty good stakes because humanity doesn't have a whole lot of chips on its shoulder right now.
Right.
But if you get control of a weapon that the Covenant want before they do, maybe you can use it against them.
Right.
So that's a pretty good framing device for it isn't even a losing war. You're just being exterminated.
Right. Right.
But then you fight your way into the deep underground caverns, and you find out there's some really weird architecture on this. Well, obviously the ring itself is architecture,
right?
But you see, this is not Covenant technology. This is something else. So it's setting that out. The Forerunner stuff that's mentioned occasionally by Cortana. Then eventually you get to the control room, the assault on the control room. There's that part where you drive around on the ice, and it's fun.
Oh, it is very fun. I love it.
You can run over. I love when you run over an elite. They just go, and then they pop like a blood balloon, and purple stuff flies everywhere. It's so much fun road raging. But then you have the overland assault across the snowy plains into the Covenant lines. You lose Marines left and right, and then you manage to take out a key gun emplacement with a lucky rocket. You feel so pumped.
And of course, around this time is when you find out the real big twist in the game.
Yeah,
which is the flood.
Yeah, you make it to the control room, and then you get to then you find Captain. You put Cortana in the control room, and she's like, "Whoa, this is awesome! So much information!"
Right.
And then like, wait a minute, something's. Then she's thinking a mile a second. Like, there's something. All right, so there's something more to this ring than what we think it is. And then Chief is like, "What? How do we use it against the Covenant? This isn't some cudgel, you barbarian. Something else.
That's
something
her literal line.
Much more important."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "The Covenant were right." And then she doesn't tell you what she's realizing, but she's like, "Captain Keyes, you have to stop him now."
Right.
Then they send you to that jungle mission, and first thing you see are grunts running away, but they're not running away from you or any human.
Right.
You hear gunshots, so you assume there's humans there.
This is so well done
because there's no real hint that there's a third faction in this game at this point. But you fight your way through, and you see a bunch of dead humans, a crashed Covenant ship. Who the hell shot that down? Or what the hell happened to it? You see corpse piles. You see Covenant on edge. And it's just Vietnam. Everyone's stumbling into each other.
You find the headset.
Yeah. You find the headset, and it cuts to a standard 80s action movie.
Right.
Basically Aliens. Right. With the black sergeant. Like, why do we have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge?
This is what you're defending. Well, I'll tell you what, Sarge, if the Covenant wants to destroy this particular part of my history, I'm fine.
And then it does the standard apocalyptic log where Master Chief is irrelevant, fast forwarding, and then you find the Captain Keyes and his squad come across that alien elite that has been shot to hell by plasma rounds, and like. Real pretty. Friend of yours? Nah, we just met. That's so foreboding.
I know.
Like,
I know.
What, friendly fire or something?
Right.
Like, and then you get to like, okay, let's get this door open. Covenant worked pretty hard to lock this down.
Right. I gave you an order, soldier. You open that door.
You walk in, then popcorn shrimp attack.
And it's so scary because they're such tough enemies.
Yeah.
They really even the little face hugger type things.
Yeah.
They're annoying because they will drain your shields if you ignore them.
Yeah. And if they latch onto you without shields, God help you.
Right. It is a legit scary part of the game. It
like
really
the first thing you see, the first one you see is just on somebody's throat, gnawing their way inside him.
Right.
And they're trying to yank it off, and it's not working. And then when they do yank one off, it gets lashed onto that guy's arm.
Right.
And you have to fight your way out. And then, of course, as soon as you're done playing the apocalyptic log, they show back up, and now you're fighting a whole new race of enemies you've never seen before.
And they can have Covenant weapons. They can have USNC weapons.
You can tell exactly who they came from, too. You can tell that there's human heads, there's elite heads. It's very well put together.
It is absolutely and the fact that they hid that there was a third faction in the game, the fact that
much halfway through the game too,
right? Yeah. And it's just such a neat reveal, and so you kind of fight through all that, and you're cut off from Cortana this whole time.
Yeah.
Cortana's not with you.
Like, you join up with a few ragtag survivors in the middle of the jungle, and you're like, okay, well, let's try to get to a drop zone. And you cut your way through the jungle, but of course the whole time those popcorn shrimp are latching onto your guys, and they're going down fast.
Right.
And you make it to the structure, and you get teleported away by some helpful little floating robot.
343, the guilty spark.
Yep. Force faction.
I always liked that name too.
Guilty Spark.
The Guilty Spark. That is so
it's good foreboding.
Right.
Foreshadowing.
But anyway, and he runs you through, and he is telling you how to defeat these popcorn shrimp.
Yeah.
He's so helpful.
He is very helpful.
He's polite.
There are policies and procedures in place for a spill of this magnitude.
Now listen, I'm not saying you brought him out. I'm just saying I know how to take care of him. So.
He actually blames the Covenant. Rightly so.
That's right.
The other species on here is probably responsible. They're actually real dicks.
He's very fascinated by humans too, because if I remember, the Forerunners did not have logs on us. We weren't around when their culture ended.
But he does recognize us as the Reclaimers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. But anyway, he's so helpful. He's really helping you. And he's like, hey, you need to find a key. Reclaimer.
Let me go to the library.
Let's get this key. We put it in the machine.
Terrible mission, but yeah.
Oh, God. Let's put this key in the machine, crank it, and it's all solved. Yeah. And the Master Chief is like, and the Master Chief is like, hey, guy, thanks, man. And then you finally get to it, and who shows up? Cortana.
Actually, you go back to the control room with it.
Right.
To set it off. And then, and then Cortana shows up, yanks the key away while it's in the program, and then, don't worry, he's a friend. Oh, he's your buddy, is he? Your chum?
She's so vindictive.
Any idea what that bastard almost made you do? Yeah, we're gonna win.
I know that.
Yeah, we're gonna win.
Hey, I just met her.
We're not together.
Cortana, this is you're
embarrassing me in front
of
Guilty Spark. Look at that little eyeball. It's my favorite little butterball.
He has drones that have been helping me kill these Flood because that mission would have been goddamn impossible without them. But yeah, and she reveals that the rings do not kill the Flood.
It kills their food,
which is everything that has biomass in it at
Covenant,
all.
Whatever.
A tree.
Yeah.
The Great Ring is a Holocaust machine.
You don't believe me? Ask him.
Oh yeah, and then you finally ask him point blank, and he's like, "Yeah, man, that's what we're doing."
Yeah,
dude, it's such.
You had to have known that.
It's such good storytelling. Like because, it really is.
He really does just think you were sent by his bosses, his creators.
Absolutely.
He has no idea you're just there.
Right. It's such a good scene. It really is. Like this. It's almost Three's Company.
I love.
But I thought you were trying to destroy.
I do love that Guilty Spark, the guy who initiated the last Holocaust of the galaxy.
Right.
Guilty Spark. Yeah, that's good.
I know it's good.
But I do love that. Oh God.
And they never flat out tell you that's how the Forerunners ended.
Yeah.
It's just you're supposed to piece it together.
I love that he clarifies, you killed the galaxy. Well, my installation only has a blast radius. so. But once the other rings, that's important to note, there are other rings. Once all the other installations join in, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life. But you knew that. How could you not have? So then he turns against you. And you have to fight your way not only through the Flood, not only through the Covenant, but his drones.
Which, by the way, I think Valve, because Valve is a company that just rips off games. All their games are just mods of other games. Mm-hmm. They don't have an original title to their name, I don't think, except for TF2. But GLaDOS is the most unforgivable one because she is literally the Guilty Spark. Like just a bit more, except that it's Guilty Spark if he forgot his manners. Yeah. That's who GLaDOS is.
I do love Cortana's little sassy approach to preventing the apocalypse, though. Like, I'll just purge you and take the key back. Oh, you want to do that? It's part of me now.
Right. And she's like, and you got to kill this guy to do it. And Master Chief is like, pain in my ass.
So you fight your way out there, and this is one of my favorite levels of the game because all the factions are at war trails.
Absolutely, it's got ourselves a Mexican standoff, boys.
Like you fight your way into a Covenant encampment, and you find out it was under attack the whole time. Right. Like there's actually strategy. Do I want to fight Flood or Covenant? Because if I let the Covenant live, they might take care of the Flood, or they might fail, depending on how the game plays out. Because it loads differently every time.
Right.
Like, and then you come across all those weird moments. Like you come across all those missions where priorly you can try to sneak. It's quite possible to stealth through those early stages.
Yes.
And it's really cool when you do it. Then you come through them again, and all the Covenant are dead, and there's Flood just creeping around.
Right.
And when they find you, they do the swarm stuff that is so terrifying.
Oh, God.
And like the elites, they'll duck for cover. The Covenant will just keep coming and slapping.
Right. The best part of Halo is the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, I wonder how they're going to do a boss, the last boss.
Yeah.
And the way they did it was brilliant. They just didn't. Mm-hmm. There's no final boss to Halo. You go and you do what you think is the final boss. So basically, you find out the only way to stop this.
Like the final boss is the situation.
Yes, and that's such a good idea. So basically, through all this, you find out that Guilty Spark's already got it set to go off. You have to destroy it.
Yeah, he's gonna figure a way out. He's gonna it's gonna take him some time because he doesn't have the key, but he's gonna find a way to do it.
He's still gonna fire the ring, and you've got to find a way to stop the ring from firing.
And the only way to do that is to just straight up destroy it. And the only way to do that is to get back to your ship,
the Pillar of Autumn,
landed with its reactor intact, and just let it blow up.
But you got to get the keys of the car first.
Yeah, and
who
has those
keys?
And last time you saw him, he was being popcorn trimmed.
And so when you find him, it's actually a very heartbreaking scene.
You have to break in, like, you find him on a Covenant ship that's under Flood control, and that's when they tell you the Flood are capable of repairing starships. And the Covenant figured that out, and they're terrified. So they're sending a strike team.
Because the Flood is going to make it off of Halo.
The ring and spread throughout the galaxy. And that's kind of, it's amazing that this information is being told to you, because the Covenant are still a thing. They're still on the, like, they're no longer the focus, but now their focus isn't on you. They're drawing all their attention on the Flood, which is the heroic and proper thing to do. You're infiltrating you infiltrate a Flood-controlled ship of theirs, and then Cortana says, by the way, the Covenant are here too. They've sent in a strike team to destroy the Flood and prevent this ship from ever leaving. That is, like, they're having their own hero's journey right now while you're doing yours.
Right. They're it's Stalingrad.
It's a perfect setup for Halo 2.
Absolutely.
Because the person who's making those decisions, unbeknownst to you, is going to be a playable character.
The Arbiter. I forgot the Arbiter's real name.
I can't remember. I think he was called a commander.
They name him something.
Okay.
He has a name in Halo 2. But anyway, so you find keys, and he what now?
He talks to you a little bit before through garbled transmissions. Just leave me.
Right.
Really, I don't want you to see me like this. I'm not. And then, like, you get there, like, no. By the time you find him, there's no human life signs.
I can't figure out what they were doing to him though, because it's not the normal.
Yeah, it looked like they were making him a giant egg colony. It's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Basically, there's this really grim scene where Cortana's like, you know what he'd want you to do, what he would order you to do. Yeah. And it's funny because and what's really cool about Chief's character is he's not Doom guy.
Yeah.
Chief has feelings.
He hesitates.
He hesitates. Like, Chief,
he doesn't have any spoken lines, but he has a lot of,
for someone whose face you never see,
he has a lot of nonverbal communication in his stature.
It's made very clear in the books too. Chief, there's emotion there. It's just he understands what's important. Yeah. And because, like, in at the beginning of Halo 3, Chief, where is Cortana? And he stands up and he looks off and he goes, she got left behind. And he basically moves as fast as he can away because he's like, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, in that scene, he literally punches into Key's skull. And pulls out what he needs. Because, of course, it made its way to his skull during this transformation.
It's his neural implant, I think.
That's right.
It's keyed to his.
Yeah. But anyway, so you do that. Yeah, because Chief plugs it in to his slot.
He shakes it off first.
So,
gives it a courtesy shake to get the goo off. Cortana, you got company.
And it's nasty. I ain't lying to you.
Now, I really love the final mission of this game. The horse you rode in on is such a good name for the last mission.
The names of the missions. They're so good.
It's a cowboy song.
Right.
Like, you see, like, your ship, and, like, the music the orchestra is slow and sad, but it's also nostalgic because this is where the game started.
Right.
And you're flying a Banshee. I love in order to get to the Banshee, you have to escape under Covenant fire because they're sending in new strike teams.
Right.
And you're snatching one of their rides to get to your ship.
And these aren't things the game spoon feeds you. If you want to play Halo as just Doom, you can.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you. Most of the story, you have to kind of piece it together.
Mm-hmm. But you get in that Banshee, and it takes a lot of fire going out. By the time you get to your ship, it's basically falling apart. It's bucking and weaving.
Right.
Cortana's trying to backseat drive you. Pull up, and then you crash, and you did that on purpose, didn't you? Right. Then you fight your way through your ship, basically going through the first level in reverse.
Right.
There's Flood everywhere now, and Covenant. because Covenant seems to know you're there for some reason. And then, of course, Guilty Spark shows up. And because you're basically done, and then he shows up and cuts you off from the computer and shuts down the reactor again. He's going to try to shut it down permanently because he knows what you're up to. The whole time he's trying, like second-handedly, like, dude, just let this happen, man. It's going to be fine.
Right.
Just let him be gone.
This is what...
And let some other species handle it.
But, yeah. Such a good character. Like, he's so...
Look, this is just the way it's always been. Proper regulations need to be followed. Otherwise, the Flood are going to escape, and nobody wants that.
Right.
But then then Cortana is... this is a good moment for the Chief, because Cortana has been in charge the whole time. Like, she's saying, he stopped the self-destruct sequence. He shut me out of the reactor. He's going to shut it down permanently. Once it's shut down permanently, we're not going to be able to get started again. And then, like, she pipes in, how much firepower would you need to overload their shields? Not much. Maybe a well-placed grenade. And it cuts back to him, and he's just playfully holding a grenade.
One thing I love about that scene is the whole time it's like, well, we've been doing that whole thinking bullshit you've been doing this whole time, and well. Turns out the idea is just to shoot the hell out of it.
So the final boss is basically just a room. There's 4 vents you need to take out. And you have to survive,
it's so good.
And you have to survive the Flood and the little
the drones,
who know what you're up to. Mm-hmm. But Guilty Spark is also he shows back up. Basically, he's the final boss. He's narrating what you're trying to do. Why are you trying to fight us? You can't win.
Right.
Like, I can't believe you're going to destroy this ship. Human history, is it? Fascinating. I will enjoy every moment of its categorization.
Right.
I am shocked. Almost too shocked for words.
Right. It's basically he's basically Sith Lord C-3PO.
Yeah. But you do eventually overload the core, and suddenly everything is on fire. It's a proper setup for you got to get out of here now.
Right.
There's one fighter still on docking base. Wait, no, before that, you get to a drop zone because there's still one drop ship under your control.
It's the one that's been through the whole game, and she gets shot down.
Yeah.
And there's
like, you show up, she's right there, and then the Covenant show up and shoot her down. Like, oh, she's gone. Like, she's gone. You're trapped on a ring that's about to explode.
There's a timer going on, by the way.
Like, the timer, you thought you beat the timer. Then it turns out you got more on the clock for a reason.
Yep.
There's one fighter still on docking. If we leave now, we can make it.
And you literally, and the most intense moment in almost any video game, but definitely in Halo.
Like, the orchestra is building, the ship's exploding.
And there's a barricade. You have to run on foot. Holy shit, that is intense.
And the whole time there are Covenant people and Flood just running.
Yeah, because at this point, even the Flood understand.
Yeah.
This is the end game. This is it. And because the Flood, through the series, they do a really good job. Because when the Flood are first introduced, the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, they're the Zerg or the Tyranid, and that's literally what they are. But they have this really, really weird intelligence. They don't have any personality whatsoever, it seems. But there's this really weird intellect. Like, they can repair ships.
They understand what a starship is, and there's something else out there for them to go to.
Right. And anyway, you make it to the fighter, and it's super intense. I can never make it with 10 or more seconds.
Yeah, it's always going to be
the game designed itself. It is incredible level design.
Like, it's not impossible by any chance, but you're going to be close to the clock.
Very, very hard every time. And anyway, you fly away, and Halo blows up, and of course you get the obligatory death weapon blows up. Yeah. Your lone ship flies away. Star Wars, sci-fi, everything.
But then Halo Chief has a good character moment. Did anyone else make it? Before we go too far. Legendary.
Yeah.
You see, the Black Sergeant is somehow he got out of the popcorn shrimp. Right. He 80'd his way across the ring, and now he's fighting with a elite over a gun. And then they both see the ship explode, and then they just like, "This is it, mate.
This is it. Come in, bring it in." Such a good scene. And Halo blows up, and Chief has that moment with Cortana.
Like, did anyone else make it? And then she says, "Just dust and echoes." And then he looks up, and you can see the shock in him, but he doesn't say anything.
Right.
Like, it clearly hits him.
And another thing I love about Chief's character is, like, I think his lack of dialogue is like, what's there to say?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what should I say?
It's like Mega Man X, really. It's
really
a good silent. It's a silent character that is still a character.
Artistically silent.
Yeah.
And then she says, "At least it's over," and he's like,
No.
And they do that beautiful shot where he takes off his helmet,
Yeah,
and
but you
there
don't
always
see it.
just happens to be that part of the window.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "No, I think it's just beginning." And then the last thing we see, guilty spark
Yeah.
flit across a starlit background, and
Yeah.
it's just one of the best campaign. It is the greatest campaign
And,
in a first-person shooter up to that point.
And having heard about, like, I heard a lot about, there's always that anticipation of what does he look like? Does it matter? It could be anyone. That's kind of like the point.
That's the point. That's the exact.
Like Chief is one of those characters that's really easy for anyone to latch onto, especially a young man, but anyone really.
Yep.
Like he could be white, he could be black, he could be Asian, he could be you.
Yep.
Basically, it's a good character for a very young man to attach to early.
It's the another thing about Chief is Chief isn't needlessly violent. He's not. Like, Chief is just a good hero. And another thing is, Chief, what's funny is he always gets pegged as like, oh, he's the stereotypical, shooter. Yeah. But that's not what it was at all. Mm-hmm. But, because if you remember Mass Effect, their sort of unofficial advertising when it was first released was this is the intelligent Halo. This is the Halo that smart guys play.
That's
and I'm not saying BioWare officially released any of it, but they certainly didn't hate that. They didn't hate it, but it's ironic in that looking back on Halo, I think Halo is a much better saga of a story.
Edgar Allan Poe's short stories aren't that big, but there's a lot there.
They are absolutely timeless, and
like
they're
if
the kind of
something works really well. If something pulls, like Mega Man X is a very short game.
But
it tells a very good story that a lot of more complicated, just because something is more complicated, has a lot more going on, doesn't make it better, really.
Exactly. Because you know what? I'll say this right now, and I'll be official about it. Mega Man X has a more emotional saga than A Song of Fire and Ice.
I could definitely see that.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, and because that's what I think is the thing because it died really quickly because I think people realize how ridiculous it was. But when the game you do remember that, like Mass Effect being compared to Halo.
Yeah.
And it was
I love Mass Effect. But
I do. You guys can go back and listen to how much we love Mass Effect, but Shepard.
But I don't think but when people talk about if something is smart or not, that's not really a good.
I hate that.
Something is what you think, what you put into it. If something invites you to put more into something, that makes it smart.
Yeah,
it's
up to you.
But intelligence is ultimately up to how it connects with other intelligent beings, which
right.
all humans are.
Exactly.
I don't care how stupid a human is. There is an intelligent spark there.
Yes.
And it's important to be able to communicate to them as well as everyone else.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, Don.
Thank you.
But
IQ tests are bullshit, is what I'm saying.
Right, it's very true, and I think that that is the heart of like the gatekeeping of the video game community. Because I remember when I first started my job I was a dishwasher during college. I was a dishwasher at a hospital, and there was a guy there that played Warcraft religiously, World of Warcraft, and I wanted to talk to him about it, and he was always like, "Oh, well, I'm like a top rater," and it's like, come on, guy. And then me and my buddy Aaron were talking about playing Halo 3, and he was like, oh, Halo's that game for people that think they're good at video games. He's like, I prefer a smarter challenge. And there's always that, it's that gatekeeping bullshit. It's like, I can't believe that you like Warcraft because you also like Halo. And there's nothing about me that makes me better than anyone else, but I could pretend that my tastes do. That's where that sort of comes in.
It's, that's really where Halo shines, because it's so universally loved for a reason. It's very accessible.
Exactly, and that's a beautiful thing. It's
not simple. There's a lot of story there. It's just not up its own ass.
But if you want to play Doom while you're playing it, you can.
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping you.
You can read as much into Halo as you want or need to. You don't you don't have to play. You don't have to know everything there is to know about baseball history to love baseball. Or
you can go to
the company retreat.
You could go to a baseball game and have a blast.
Yeah.
Not even knowing what happened that season before.
You know what? Even if you don't like baseball, just being there with the energy of the crowd, the hot dogs.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
If you're not good at Halo, and frankly, I was never that good at Halo, but I loved hanging out with a Saudi, a San Franciscan, some other guy,
and everyone
and myself, and just going out, gathering around, doing something we all can do and enjoy, and just having fun.
My kids named my Xbox Live name. My kids named my gamer tag, and they named it Fast Baby Shark because my little girl loves Baby Shark, and my son was like, "No, do it, no, do it."
Yeah.
Like my son's like 9, so I did it, and I'm like, "Haha, you guys got what you want." And I was up late one night playing Halo 3 on the Master Chief Collection because when I found out you could play online Halo 3, I was like, I'm losing 15 years of my life. Like, I'm going back in time. I was so excited. And I got on, and there was a guy named Stealth Shark. And he had and we were the only two in the thing that had a mic. And he was literally a California surfer. Like, he had said he had just got back from surfing and was playing Halo 3. And he goes, "Hey, man, like, he killed me once." He was like, "Oh, dude, I should have done that." I was like, "Dude, it's Slayer. It's all good." He's like, "No, we sharks got to look out for each other." And we had a legit conversation. We just talked about, like, life and stuff, just playing Halo. And, like, it wasn't and the thing with Halo is it wasn't like, "Dude, you're trash. You're trash. Get off. You're trash." Like, the guy was like, "Hey, man, it's been a long time since you played." I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "That's okay." He's like, "The best part is you don't have to win to have fun."
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fun game. Whereas, like, if you get on, like, Dota or something, people are like, "What do you mean you don't play at, like, the top level?"
Like, honestly, it's one of those, it's a really interesting, like, mindset certain people have because, you know, when we were growing up, it was important to get enough friends together to have a good time playing a game. You're not in a position to turn people away because they're not good.
Exactly.
The issue is, are you too good so that people aren't going to want to play with you?
Right, that was a scarier thing.
That's a scarier thing.
Yes.
So when people these days, girls playing video games, what is the world coming to?
Oh, and it's that sort of gatekeeping is just sort of really ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
gating.
And what's funny is growing up around here, everyone that played video games was enough of an outsider that it really didn't seem that big of a deal to me that girls did it too.
Right up until we weren't.
Right.
Because when Halo came out, we realized that we were all outsiders hiding ourselves from each other.
But
we didn't need to be.
So I think Halo incorporates Don Ram's message better than any other video game, and that is that video games are for everyone. Everyone can enjoy video games to a certain extent.
We are San Franciscans. San Franciscans are Midwesterners.
Right. Like, the only reason a barrier exists between people is because someone placed it there.
Yeah.
Someone wanted you to not be allied, and that is why video games are an existential threat to the man because he can't divide us.
Yes.
If we're all playing video games, I've said before, you find the furthest right-wing people and the furthest left-wing people, and you trap them in a room at gunpoint and say, "You will play Halo together for 15 hours." A lot of people are going to come out of that room realizing they had a lot more in common than they thought.
Just got to keep them in that room for for a long time,
and make sure they can't hurt each other until they've played Halo.
Yeah,
because
basically make them play through the entire series and then make them do it again and again and again and again until the endless network of media outrages has become so alien to you, you won't recognize it. So you just keep playing Halo and the world basically just revolves around Halo.
So
a ring around Halo.
Fox News
a Halo
pundits?
around ring.
Ring around the Halo.
Before we go though, one big spoiler. That's not really a spoiler because this is Halo. Everyone's played Halo. Everyone knows Halo. The guy we saw hugging the alien, well, Cortana wasn't exactly right when she said it was just us and echoes.
Avery lives, and it's a joke.
There was
yeah. It's sort of a running joke because what is it at the beginning of Halo 2? He's like,
"You were going to tell me how you got off that ring? That's classified.
That's classified, son." And he's in his blues. He's in his dress uniform.
He makes it all the way to 3.
Go have a Halo LAN party tonight for old times.
Sounds like a good idea. You know, Classic, it brought a lot of people back to that time period.
Right, because Classic was 2004. So, like, actually, that sort of 6th generation of game systems, that sort of era is really in right now. Like,
it's almost like people from 26 to 35 are in a position to motivate capitalism.
That's why there's an Invader Zim movie right now. on
And,
Netflix and a
She-Ra's
Rocco one.
and She-Ra's back on Netflix.
Which the Mandalore is a huge fan of.
yeah.
But by the way, watch all those on Netflix because no one's going to want it after Disney Plus comes out.
Oh, probably.
Especially since a Disney Plus sub, it's been confirmed, comes with a Hulu sub.
But anyway, just because something is old doesn't mean it's shameful. In fact, it was never shameful. If it makes you feel good and it doesn't hurt anyone, it's good.
Play Halo. Go play Halo Combat Evolved tonight. And
play with as many people as you can because friendship is important.
And if you want to hear about Halo 2, stay tuned. Hit that subscribe. There's a bell.
Look. I Halo. I know Halo 2 is not as popular, but I had my mind blown when I realized that the Covenant were going to get a point of view character.
Oh yes, that was a big deal. And but did they? Is that the Covenant's point of view? Because it's sort of him becoming disillusioned with the Covenant the whole time.
Well,
it's sort of
the Covenant does split apart.
Right.
But I don't know. He was Covenant through and through right up until. Like, you get a point of view of the Covenant and post-Covenant. So.
He was the Covenant's most loyal soldier, if you think about it. If you think about it. To find out who we're talking about, stay tuned. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends.
Seek out a memory specialist because if you are not unfamiliar with what we were talking about, clearly you have suffered injury.
Right. If you don't remember the Halo craze, there's something really wrong with you. Or you're just...
I can remember what I had for breakfast in 3rd grade, November 14, but I can't remember this Halo 2. Oh, Grandpa, I'm so sorry.
The hardest thing was watching Grandpa forget about Halo 2.
Cut it.
Before we go any further, it's done. That's the best.